pretty good information here. They have restrooms, but I gotta tell you, if you have arachnophobia, you might want to take your Dramamine before you come here. This is a place of nightmares. Oh my God. I'm just saying. Fort Phantom Hill, established November 14th, 1851. Abandoned April 6, 1854. Repaired and used by Southern Overland Mail from 1858 to 1861. The soldiers stationed here didn't like it. It didn't make sense to them that there was no water here. There's nothing here. So I read that when the soldiers finally got to leave this post, someone turned around and it was all on fire, which is why only the stone buildings and the stone fireplaces and chimneys are left. The soldiers that were stationed here didn't like it here. There's no water. There is a lake now that they did back in the 30s, which provides water to Abilene and the nearby towns. But when this was a grasshopper fort, there was really nothing here. Beware of rattlesnakes, no metal detectors, no climbing on structures. Okay, no problem. Everything's bigger in Texas? Holy cow. I don't think I've ever seen a grasshopper that big before. I think it's locked. Grasshoppers and humongous spiders. When the trucks aren't driving by, it's actually pretty peaceful out here. I'll just call them my entourage. So this was the commanding officer's quarters. Okay. So he had a fireplace and chimney at each end of the building, which makes sense. I don't know if soldiers had their families out here. I can imagine that back in the mid-1800s, that wouldn't have been the ideal thing, especially since there was no water and it was such a horrible existence out here. But I did read that even though this was a frontier fort, they actually did not have a lot of issues with Indians. They pretty much were friendly toward them out here, which is nice, which is kind of part of the reason why the fort didn't stay here that long. They didn't really need it so far as protection of settlers. It got its name Phantom Hill from it was like a mirage. When people were coming toward here, they would see a hill in the distance. By the time they got here, it was all flat. So that's where it got the name Phantom Hill. People also say it's haunted. At the lake, they have what they call the Lady of the Lake. Typical woman wandering around at night in a white dress. I don't know. Looks like they did have wells. A couple of wells spotted around here every once in a while. I'm sure they probably had to dig pretty deep to get to them. Oh, there's some fireplace over there too. It's pretty big place. Pretty cool. I'm trying to stay on the trail. I don't want to pick up any grass burrs. There are grass burrs out here, of course. Plus, beware of rattlesnakes, right? It's nice that everything's marked. Whose quarters were where these chimneys remain. Over here in this stand of cactus, there's another well. Here's a cannon. More chimneys over that way. That looks pretty cool. I'm going to walk down that way too. I don't see any other wildlife here besides the grasshoppers. I'm sure there's probably other creatures, mice, field mice probably, garter snakes I would assume, unless the rattlesnakes ate them all. Breezy up here. I hope my microphone is working and it's not pulling in too much wind noise. Oh, and this one's got a cellar. This is cool. Grasshoppers, okay. Heard something. Stairs there. This is really cool. I'm so glad I found this place. We're also going to be going to some museums and historic villages here in Abilene, as well as Buffalo Gap. Got 6 o'clock reservations at the steakhouse in Buffalo Gap. We heard it's really good. Excited about that. Alright, I'm going to walk over to these other structures and we'll be back. Here's where the blacksmith shop was. There's no cellar for this one. They probably had a regular wood floor. If it was just the blacksmith shop, probably, I don't know. Did the blacksmith live in the blacksmith shop? I'm not sure. There's another stone structure over here. Get a little closer and see what that one is. Small little walled structure here. This was the bakery. There's the blacksmith shop over there. So this was the bakery. At, let me see, in Fredericksburg, Fort Walter Scott, we saw where the bakery was set up there at that frontier fort. And they had big pots that they cooked the bread and everything in. So that was pretty cool. I'll put a link to that video, to this one. Okay, this is the other rock structure I saw. A little closer to it here. It's got some windows. So it kind of built into the side of the hill here. Let me see what this is. There's a sign over here. This was permanent commissary storehouse. Okay, that makes sense. That's why it's built into the side of the hill. It was quiet, or sorry, not quiet, I mean cool. Quiet, I'm thinking how quiet it's not here. Without the trucks, there's lots of grasshoppers. Looks like maybe a cistern here. More like a flower planter now. There is a cemetery down the road. So maybe on our way back to Abilene for lunch, we'll stop there and get some pictures. I want to come over here and check out this wagon. This is really cool. There's where they hitched it up to the horse, and there's where the seat was. Nice little springs to keep your butt comfy. Wooden wheels. And it's pulling a little trailer. Isn't that cool? I don't think I've ever seen one of these. It's amazing. The places you go and the things you find.